Welcome back to another Handyman Land video. Today's video is on the Evolution multi-material table saw. And here on Handyman Land, you're going to see the unboxing and my review on this table saw. Here's the package we received. 15 amp high power motor, 10-inch TCT blade included. Cutting depth in wood, 3 1/4 inch. Limited warranty of 3 years. This table saw with its 25 RPMs can cut wood with nails, PVC, different types of metal, copper, and more. Seems to me this table saw is going to be a big game changer in my workshop. But today I'll be swapping out the blade to install this fine finished wood cutting blade because I have some furniture projects coming up. So let's open up our package. Some instructions here. Okay, when I flipped it over, I heard some rattling, and it was these screws here, some washers. So they came loose. If you look here, they belong to this plate right here. So let's just screw that back on. Just to give you an overall view how it looks when you just take it straight out of the box. Let's see what's in this box here. Let's take out everything that's in this box, then we'll talk about it. All our hardware in here. So in the box we have 2 wheels. This looks like the front, and this looks like those are the back of the wheels. I'm noticing this seems like it's rubber. Yes. So these are rubber tires here. Here we have our blade guard. And this is where you connect the holes for the dust collection. Anti-vibration device, basically your clamp. And here we have a rubber piece. So that's for if you're doing woodwork, you don't want to clamp it down too tight and leave the marking. So that's a pretty nice feature there. Here we have our miter gauge. This is pretty heavy duty miter gauge. It's short, but I can feel the quality on this. Reason why I say that, comparing this to my Wen, I'll show you right now. Here's my Wen bandsaw and the miter gauge that this comes with. Let's compare it. It's a big difference. It's plastic. This is metal. It's a big difference in the knob as well. So you got a very nice knob here to change your settings. This is pretty rinky-dinky comparing it to the Evolution. You can see the thickness and the length. Yeah. Comes with a very nice heavy-duty miter gauge. I like it. Also comes with a sliding miter fence material pusher. That's pretty cool. Usually this type of feature, you have to purchase it separate. So this will connect to your miter gauge. Like so. Also in that box, there were 4 baggies. So let's talk about each one. Here we have M5 nuts. On the manual, it says we need only 7, but I have 9. So that's good that we have extra. 4 M6 nuts. 10 M8 nuts. On the manual, it says we only need 8. So we have 2 extra. On the manual, they call these large and small washers. The difference is the center diameter. I don't know if you can see that. Last in that bag was the M5 bolts. Here we have our flat end caps. They brought an extra one. 2 round end caps. 8 spacers, and they gave us an extra one. 2 orange finger nuts. You only get 2, don't lose them. Dust extractor hose clip. It's plastic. 2 M6 55mm bolts. 2 M5 50mm bolts. These are Phillips. M5 40mm bolts. Here we get an extra one because we only need 4 and also Phillips. 4 M6 53mm bolts. You will need an Allen key for this. Here we have 8 M8s 78mm bolts. Our last baggie that was in the box is our wheel bolts. So it goes like so. Big washer first. Smaller washer. And your nut. And this is a lock nut. I don't know if you can see inside there. And it brings an extra washer. Just to give you a better look of the push stick. Here is our rip guard. It's nice. It's pretty heavy. The overall length is about 32 inches. And this is our rip fence faceplate. 1 dust extractor hose. Overall length is 6 feet. The leftover components, it's what our table saw will be standing on. These 2 are the only 2 that are identical. The rest are different. That covered all the components. Let's assemble our table saw. For the first part of the assembly, these are the 2 components that we'll be starting off with. Don't be confused. You have another one that looks identical. The difference is one is much more shorter than the other. The short one you put to the side. Also 4 of the M5 bolts and nuts. These are the ones with the Phillips head. Okay, now that that's done, let's take this off the bench. Next, we have this piece here with the latch and this thin piece here. Now grab the two longer bolts, the ones that are the Phillip heads. And on one side where the latch is at, you have two holes. This is the hole that we'll be using right now. It should be looking like this. Next step, grab the stand component with the latching pin. Where we're going is right in this area. Like so. Grab your longest bolts with the M8 nuts and two spacers. Now for the next step, I'm going to show you, do it the way I'm doing it, because I found that if you follow the instructions, it's going to be very difficult to get your bolts on both ends of the stand. I've seen people complaining about this part here, but it's because the nut that you're going to use, leave it for the very end. Do not put them on yet. Okay, we're going to start on this side, not where the latch is at. Put your bolt in, get your spacer, get it in there like so. Okay, we have that part in. Now, for this side, get your bolt in, your spacer. This side's going to be more trickier than the other side. Just got to find that hole in there. Okay. There you go. And just to show you how these two parts together function, that's your latch. Nice. These are the next two components you'll be grabbing, along with 4 of your M6 bolts, a washer, and a nut. Okay, so you want to flip your table saw over, grab your tubing, and you'll see you'll have 2 holes on each side. We're using the inner hole. And here are our 4 mounting points. 1, 2, 3, 4. The part with the angle here goes to your right side. Like so. Cut. Remember, it's the inner hole. Washer and your nut. Once you have all 4 in place, go ahead and tighten it up. All 4 are nice and tight. How do you know? Well, you shouldn't be able to get your fingernail in this area. For the next step, you're going to need your M8 with a spacer and a nut. Grab this assembly here with the latch facing forward, like so. May I give you a little screenshot right there. Then we're going to line up this square hole with this hole. So you put your bolt in, spacer, and then the nut. There you go. Okay. If you notice, I left the nuts for the end until I get both bolts in. And it should look like this. Same hardware we use for this part is what we'll be needing again. Here's the next piece we're installing. Now you want to place this part like so. Goes like this. And we're connecting it right here on the end. Okay, get your spacer. Okay. 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 Now let's tighten. Now, it should be doing this. And this is the hardware you'll be needing. This should be your last set, like this. And what we'll be needing to do is get our bolt in here, spacer, and in through the next tubing. It's going to be a little difficult if you don't have someone to help you. Okay, our bolt, our spacer. Nice. This side might be a little more difficult. Oh yeah. So we gotta separate the tool and get that. Let's get the bolt out. Let's get this spacer in first. Okay, that's not easy. Okay, there you go. This side is definitely going to be a little more difficult. I had to squeeze that spacer in there, and then I kept adjusting it until I saw some light from the other side. Okay, I'm almost there. So this one definitely is more difficult. Woo. So yes, that definitely was the hardest bolt to get in. I guess since you're getting closer towards the end, everything's getting tighter and tighter. So if you can get a helping hand, that'll work. Don't forget to put your M8 nuts. It should look like this at this point. Now here's your latch. Press your latch. Now when you open it, it should latch on its own. Nice. For the next step, this is the order that it goes in. Your bolt first, then your big washer, your wheel, the small washer, and the nut. Okay, you're gonna need a rubber mallet to beat this in. Okay. It's your big washer, your wheel, smaller washer, and your nut. Now for our end caps, and you're going to need a rubber mallet. Your 2 round end caps, they go here for the handles. Let's try that again. Now for your flat end cap, you see that little groove? That's to go over your bolt. Okay, here's how it's looking. Okay, in the beginning of the video, I don't know if you remember, there was some screws that fell out, which were those right here. So you can see that the table here isn't flush. You can probably see better on this side. So we need to fix that. Okay, they do provide the Allen key for this. Now for this back rail, you want it nice and flush on this side. Like so. Make sure they're nice and tight. For your front rail, you want to line it up with 0. And once you have it on 0, you want to make sure that this top plate here is flush. Once you have it flush, raise it and then go underneath and tighten your bolts. Nice. Now that my table's nice and flush, I noticed that I need to adjust this as well. Okay, so we're good right there. Now let's talk about the rip fence. My rip fence comes with a rip fence faceplate. I don't have this on my other table saw. I'm not sure what's the purpose for it or why do we need to mount it. But on the manual it says to mount it to your rip fence. And this would be the hardware to mount that. So you'll just slide your bolts in like so. Just put your bolt in first. Like so. Just thread this on just a little bit. Now take your face plate, slide it in, and now you can tighten it. Okay, I have my face plate on here. A little more adjustment. Just so you can see, this face plate adds on 2 inches. Here's how it looks. So I'm curious about this. The groove here, is this to add on accessories? When I say accessories, I mean these type of safety accessories. I'm not sure, I'll figure that out, but if you know the answer, leave it in the description. Just so you can see, lift, slides nice and smooth. Now let's put our miter gauge together here. Okay. For your clamp, just loosen it here, raise that up, down, then you can lock it in place right there. So this is a cool feature. I like that. Nice, and here you just lock it to the position that you need. 60-degree, 45 cuts. Awesome. I like this. Here's another cool feature. You see this little hole? Well, there's threads in there. And you screw this on. This way, when you close your table, your miter gauge doesn't move or fall on the floor. Okay, so we're going to continue this table saw tomorrow because it's late. I've been in here all day long. As you can see, it is pitch black outside. Okay, it's the next day. I have the hens free ranging for now. We have the guard dog on lookout. As she's babysitting the hens, we're going to put this blade on our table saw. Let me point out a few of the features before we start putting our blade in. On the front here, we have our on and off switch, rip fence locking handle, weighs about 65 pounds, 2500 RPM, 15 amps. On the side, they provide you with the month and year it was manufactured. On the front here, we have our bevel adjustment. Above that, we have our bevel locking lever. The next feature, I think is pretty cool. Under your miter gauge, you have two knobs. Not the first one, this one in the back here. This one's called your sliding carriage unlocking pin. So what you do is you pull down, tilt to the side, like so. And what that does is releases this side of the table to slide. And your miter gauge can continue going beyond the blade. So perhaps if we're doing a 60-degree cut, it would be nice to continue going past that blade. Let me know what you think about that feature in the comments. And after several months of me owning this, I'll have a better answer of what I think of this feature. Here we have our right hand sliding table extension locking lever. And on the front, this knob, and at the rear, this knob, those are called your left hand side table extension unlocking pin. What you do is you turn them. On the back side is where you wrap your cord. On the side here is where you store your tools to change the blade. And if you own other style blades, you could store them there as well. It's the next morning and it's time to install our blade. Let's remove our access plate with this same tool, put it in the groove, unlock it. Lift up, pull out. It has two little tabs on the back end. Just so you know, this is plastic. Now let's turn our bevel adjustment hand wheel. Here's what we're working with. Right here is our riving knife, which is held by this bolt right here. If you need to make adjustments, loosen the bolt and your riving knife will raise upward. I don't see the option to be able to adjust it side to side. I guess you can add shims for whatever reason if you need to. So there I loosened the riving knife, as you can see. It's how high it raises. What we have here is the two large washers and a bolt. So for this washer, you can see your tool fits perfect. Then your other on the bolt. Here's a closer look of our bolt, our washer that's keyed to this arbor. Now just looking at this design, with this arbor and the spacing here, you're not going to be able to install a dado stack on this. It's not that type of table saw, because this table saw not only cuts wood, it cuts metal. Here's our other washer. This side is the 5/8. This side is your 1 inch. The center of our evolution blade is 1 inch. As you can see on my calipers, 1 inch. Here's the 1 inch side of our washer. Fits perfect. Our arbor is 5/8. So you can definitely install 5/8 blades on here. When facing the table saw, to install our evolution blade, you want the face of your 1 inch side, you can see, facing outward. Put it in, like so. You want your evolution blade, the teeth facing you. Line it up like so. Get your other washer and install it. Get your bolt, get it in there. Try not to drop it. Get your big wrench. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but our raving knife is on the money. Oh yeah. Place your access panel back on. Don't forget to lock it. Here we have our blade guard. If you look closely here, that's where your rave knife goes in between there. Then you bring down and screw it in to the opposite side. Once you got it through this hole on your raving knife. Now let's install our holes. The other end connects to the side. So this is just a very tight fit. There's no clamps needed for here or there. The only clamp is this one, and it mounts right here to the side. Washer or screw. Washer on the back end and the nut. Now what I did was I turned it this way because I feel as though it would be better in that position. Now I put my holes in, reconnect it. So I'll play with this and see what's the best option. So when you move it, it looks like you have to release the hose. When you want the full extension, you're gonna have to raise it up from here because it kind of gets a little stuck. Closing it obviously won't be no problem. So after playing with it for a few minutes, I think I kind of got the right position. In this angle here, seems as though it opens and closes now with no problem. Now, if you need to make adjustments to the rave knife, you need to remove your blade guard. Because you can only bring your blade down but so much. That's about it. Because if you continue turning your bevel adjustment hand wheel, you will end up breaking it. As you can see, that's as far as you can go. So let's release that tension. I say let's make some adjustments. Just to be clear, when I said you'll end up breaking it, I was referring to the blade guard. And anytime you're doing any type of adjustments, just make sure it's unplugged. After playing with it for some time, I think I have it on the setting that'll suit me. So it'll all depend on what you're working on and how you set your raving knife. Me, personally, what I'm doing is I'm ripping 2x4s all the time, and that's probably the best setting for me. Okay, it's nice and secured. Okay. I made another adjustment. My raving knife was way too close to the teeth of my blade. We are plugged in. Let's turn it on. On the back side of your Evolution blade package, you can go ahead and scan the QR code. This will take you to a video on how to get more cuts out of your blade. Another thing is I'm going to show you where you store your push stick. Excuse me, ladies. It goes on the side like so. On the side here, I'm still not sure what goes there. Same thing goes for this side. I'm not sure what these two tabs are for. I didn't see nothing in the manual, but if I find out, I'll leave a link in the description at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the 60-degree miter cut on some pressure treated wood. We have a nice clean cut straight through. Don't forget to unloosen your miter saw so it can continue passing the blade. You can see from this angle what I mean by that. It's a nice clean cut. That's our 60-degree. Okay, let's put this part back. Now we have our blade set to a 45. 45. Here's my 45 cut. Yeah, look good. Just so you know, I didn't calibrate the fence yet. This is just straight out the box. I'm making cuts with it. I did do some calibrations, but I haven't touched the fence yet. And I'm going to show you how you adjust your fence. These two bolts here, you can see. Then you could adjust it like this. Let's get it back on 0. And one of these should be the right one for your boat. Here I have some hard milled wood from a down tree. This has been drying for about 5 years now. I'll be taking 20 inches off of this. So we will be using this for shelving. So let's see. We are nice and squared. Nice and squared. Beautiful. This project here, I'm waiting on some epoxy. Then I'll send it through a joiner and then a planer. I believe it's going to be about 5 of these for a cabin. Now, what do I think about the Evolution table saw? I love it. It's a step up of what I've been using. You will definitely see more videos of this table saw. I'll probably get into more detail of the calibration of it, some of the projects that I've done with it, but I'm very happy with it. As for the holes, it did a great job going in and out like I wanted it to. Another thing I didn't talk about is you can adjust the feet right here. I will also do more videos on when I'm using it to cut metal. That's the awesome part about this table saw. This is the table saw for the handyman, for the contractor that needs to throw it in the back of their work van, throw it in the back of their truck, get to the work site to cut some wood or metal. That's the great thing about this. This is why these style table saws are on wheels. The other nice thing about this table saw is the price. The price is what gets me the most, where it's under $400. Here in my other workshop, I have the cobot. Here on the side, we have our miter gauge. Let's do a quick comparison. It's a big comparison. This one does not come with a clamp or a fence. The Evolution's is bigger and beefier. The Cobot's guard does not have the option of connecting a shop vac like the Evolution. The Evolution comes with a reset feature. Need any support? The label's right above. Stay tuned because I will eventually make a video on the Evolution R255 blade. I'll also leave you a detailed video in the description at the bottom of Evolution's 60 teeth 10-inch fine wood cutting blade. Evolution sent this table saw out to me to do an unboxing assembly review video, and I'm happy with the product. And in doing so, they're giving my viewers 5% off with my promo code, all caps, Handyman. But stay tuned because I'll have many more videos on the blades and other Evolution products. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, hit that bell icon, and I'll see you on the next one. And give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Have a good one.